Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What have we learned about software as a service or SaaS stocks over the last couple of videos? What have we learned? They do the same thing. They gap and they fade. They do it differently. Some gap and instantly fade, some gap, rally, then fade, but ultimately it's a big gap and a big fade. And that's what we have with Catapult today. So we're going to take a look at the trades for this one and also a microcap MCO. Now, unfortunately, Big Daddy D over here has two personality traits that came out in abundance today, and that was greed and arrogance. And boy, do they come out in abundance today. Guess who knew what was going to happen? Guess who had the fucking foresight to front side a rally on Cat with anticipation that it was just going to range break to the downside and puke and shit all over the price and retest the lows or retest yesterday's closing price. Guess who had that fucking magical idea? Yeah, I did. So the first sign should have been just simply breaking above the open candle. That's not an opening range break, but that's a signal to maybe just sit the fuck back and wait. No, mine was, oh my god, let's get the very first bar of red. Let's get on that because it's gonna go bleh or bleh. It's gonna do one of those two things. In my mind, I was a fucking genius, absolute genius. I knew exactly what was happening today, and then it broke out, and then I had to start covering from basically here and cut. So yeah, I took about 12 cents. I didn't go full size. I'm not completely fucking retarded, but I did go. I went heavier than I probably should have for an opening position on a front side short, because the idea would have been if it broke through VWAP, would have been an add-on, and of course the biggest add-on would be the range break. But that didn't happen, so I took a nice solid L for the morning. But that's okay because we made up for it with this trade that was happening. Now, I still did have the idea of shorting the first sign of weakness. And the first sign of weakness was, yeah, we have lower lows forming, right? Lower highs, I should say. That was my sign. Just get a starter, get in there, get ready for a rollover. Now, what ended up actually happening is a huge consolidation at 243 and 242. It was actually more like 242. So the bid was 241, the offer was 243, and 343, I should say. And yeah, that 242 doesn't matter if the bid was on there; it would get smoked. If the offer was on there, it would get smoked, and it just kept going sideways. Now, I haven't seen one of these in a long time, and there is one particular theme about these kinds of stocks is when there's a big buyer and a big seller fighting it out, they don't just keep reloading until they run out of money. This happens. They sort of turn off the bot, their algorithm, for a few minutes, and then you get these spikes completely out of range. You get these little spikes until you actually have a drop. We had a 5-tick drop, which doesn't sound like a lot for a $3.30 stock, but on low volumes here, and then you had a high volume puke immediately afterwards. And basically at this point in time, it was on. So I built the short on the pop as well. So little pop, got a short, additional short. And yeah, it was just this is one of those things where I think experience is really important, is understanding this stuff. Because I think what a lot of newer traders might do is set a stop loss at like 344, because they're like, well, if they stop reloading and it gets 344, it'll spike. And then this happens. This is I almost guarantee you these are stop losses from shorts. I can guarantee it. Or either way, people shorting, you can see big volume here. A couple of people stopped maybe, and then it reverses. And then maybe people that are shorting cover on this side. It's just shit. It's really shit. If you're a new trader and you experience this high churn, super tight range, and it pops, you get excited. You're like, the reload is finished. It's going to go bleh. or bleh, it just doesn't. I was actually one tick away from getting stopped. I had 349 on my order to stop me up. 349 to trigger a buy. And I thought that was plenty of room, but evidently not enough, because this was 347. I thought worst case it hits 347. I was, one tick off, which I'm super glad it didn't happen. Got to set a stop somewhere, and I might have to revisit that. But I thought that was, 8 ticks was plenty of room. And eventually, it pukes, and then where does it get to, right? Guys, where does it get to? You break VWAP on a setup that's up, what is it, 20% for the day, 15%? Double check. Okay, hits 20%, consolidates at around 18%. Where does it go if it breaks VWAP? Well, the target's really fucking easy. You've got 2 targets. It's usually open price is always going to be like the first kind of take profit. The second one is usually the low of the day, which, is not, in this case, it's not too far away. And that's exactly what you end up having. Not even a fake out to the downside, because usually these kinds of rollover stocks tend to just keep rolling over. And that's why it's only a partial, maybe like 30% off as I get to the open price is what I do. And then if it fails to roll over, then off I go. Get rid of the rest. Because once this happens, right, so you got this, there was a bit of a defensive level just above the open price. I got out about a third here within this sort of range. It pukes, high volume. It's like, okay, cool. Where do we go? Hit the low, hit the low, hit the low. And it's just failing. This shouldn't happen. 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts to break the lows. No. It should happen on the first or the second at most. Once it bounces off the second, I started closing out the rest here. I mean, could I have gotten slightly better? Yeah, but the concern is that it doesn't actually keep going down. It just goes back up. And look, that's eventually what it did. Look, in hindsight, not in hindsight. No, there's no way I'd take it here. This is ultimately, for me, the correct place to do it. I don't think there's any other place, really. Would have been nice? Sure, woulda. Realistically, playbook, it's always just going to be there. It's always going to be after the fail of the second hit. Because I suggest you guys look at something like PDN the other day, where it just rallied and then just trickle. You know what happens when it hits the lows? Puke. Or it bounces very small and then pukes. But then, if it bounces and then it holds, it's just gonna rally or recover. And in that case, it ends up going to VWAP. Now, you might be thinking, well, did you close and then go long? No, I closed it and left it alone because I thought it was going to be a shit fight. I thought it was going to be a choppy mess. You never know what this shit, how it fucking gets to VWAP. You just never know. So that was Cat in a nutshell. I mean, that was a whole fucking 8 minutes talking about Cat. I think I could have condensed that down to 2 minutes of just, I fucked up and then I made it back. But I think this lesson here is really important. This part here, I think, is a good educational piece. This is something that doesn't happen very often, but I think it's something worth looking at. If you have Spark, watch the replay. I strongly encourage you to watch the replay of this to learn what the book looks like when the buyers and sellers give up, what it looks like, and when they come back online, and how long it takes them to come back online as well. I think it's a good piece of education that you don't see very often. We have, oh my god, was it MCO? It was MCO. Brilliant. So let's open up the daily chart on this one. This one's a bit of a I don't want to call it a scam, but I think you guys know that I think it's a scam. I don't want to call it a scam, but I mean, it's hard to push above 3.5 here. This is ultimately, I'm surprised it ever broke above it. Volumes, much of a muchness. I don't know what to make of this stock, honestly. Even if I did know that this stock was gapping up at 1.8, I don't touch 1.8 cent stocks. I don't touch anything below 2. Usually anything below 2.5 is just a no-go for me. But, once this rallied, someone pointed it out at around 3.2. Got it at 3.5. I think installed it for 3.6, just got one tick on it. And then ended up, as it did this, Based on what I saw on the book, based on the volumes, it was gorgeous. Everything about it looked really good. I was not too concerned about the one seller because there was no follow through. Immediately, the bid started coming back up. So I ended up taking, oh god, it was like 3.6 average, and then I sold at 3.8. 3.8. I don't know if it was the first candle or the second candle. All I remember is I saw the 4.2 get nibbled. A 4.2 here, no, here, had 700k of shares on the offer, and then I think 400k got taken, 350 maybe, out of that 700k, and then immediately 4 got wiped, and then it just kind of puked a little bit there, and then what we ended up seeing was like 1.5 million flashing on the offer over here, and that was my signal to get the fuck out. It was just run. And I think this was the so that right there is 1.5 million. So I think he just amended his order and puked it. Wanted to get the fuck out by the looks of it. And from there, you might be wondering, well, is there any other trade left? The answer is yes. If this goes sideways for long enough, and I'm talking like 90 minutes, 2 hours from the opening drive, so that's a pump, consolidate, holds VWAP. Ideally, you want it above VWAP, but it's fine, really low volumes. And then you want a volume spike, but yeah, you don't want this volume spike, this one right here. So initially, the initial spike is the one to signal the long is on after a consolidation. But firstly, this was too short of a consolidation, I think. Should have been maybe a little bit longer. Secondly, even if it, secondly, it should have been above VWAP ideally. Thirdly is it's not the worst entry in the world, but I would have to immediately get out the second there was a high volume sell. So even if I got in at something like 3.3 or 3.4, I'd have to hit out 3.3 and 3.2 or something like that. I'd have to immediately cut it if there's a high volume sell, because this pump consolidate setup should have 0 sellers remaining. There shouldn't be a single seller hitting the bid. Let alone it shouldn't be on high volumes, I should say. But there still was, 1 million, and that dampened it, and that was it for the day. That was split. I wasn't too keen on getting in. Something just didn't feel too right. I think it's just, all the combination of things together didn't sit right. It wasn't high enough above VWAP, and it was too soon. So there's MCO. We also have SFR, and where is the copper price? So we got SFR, the Endfire. So we looked at this one. I added on, guys. 1750. I added on. I told you guys just below 1750 was going to be my stop, but I was watching it all day. I wanted to add on to this. Also, the copper price. The copper price was rallying into close, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll grab it. Tomorrow, if it is red tomorrow by even 1%, I am cutting SFR. So there's a level here. I bring up the daily for the copper price, and the copper price is 24.5, I'm pretty sure. So it's live all the time. You can see the copper price is actually doing quite well now. A nice little pivot. Hits that zone. Hopefully it just does a bounce of some sort. Hell, even just a straight recovery, would not be upset. But yeah, so we look at the 1 minute. Just a really nice, it hits support perfectly and then just rallies. It's quite nice. So the time is now just around 5:40. And yeah, you can see from the closing price it did all right. So no complaints so far. We'll see how it goes overnight though, because here's the 3-minute chart. So this is the US open session in the black, and then in the blue, that's the pre and post market. So it's basically a 24-hour commodity price, or futures price. So really handy to see. And I think that's it for today. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow.